Yes, of course, we are sad about Suzanne. We have been doing tribute shows for a couple of weeks now, and we let people know that we were coming back to we're easing back into doing shows now. So, you know, we will always have sadness and celebration for Suzanne, and so that's why we're here. And if that's not your cup of tea, totally understand. And it's okay if you don't want to watch.
We have literally been having the worst month ever. So if you're doubting our sadness, please don't. You don't see our entire lives on this one like 30-minute show, and I think we all just need a little brightness today. And you know, for whatever reason, we're in a better mood than we have been in a while.
Yeah, Bruce is doing okay. He's you know, he's processing like the rest of us, and same with Allan. Allan is very buoyed by all of his children and grandchildren, and that has been. We've had some really sweet, tender time together, for sure. But as you know, because you've all been through grief and loss, we are not alone in this. There is a lot of sadness. There's also a lot of laughter. There's a lot of like nostalgia and memories.
And love.
And yes. Who is with Allan? Today, Leslie is with Allan. Violet and I are going to go down tomorrow, and we are staying Tuesday and Wednesday this week. Bruce is going to come down on Wednesday. We are going to do a show with Allan. We will be at Big Al's Bar, and we're going to do some cooking for Allan on Wednesday, because we thought that would be a nice way to hang with Allan. Maybe cooler. Yes, Violet, you do have Zanny's smile.
A lot of people keep saying you have her laugh. It's funny because my grandma used to always say to me, she said, one of my favorite things about you is your laugh because it's so goofy. She was saying it in a way where she was making fun of it a little, saying that it wasn't maybe, she never said this, but maybe it's not the most attractive laugh. It's more of a silly laugh. But a lot of people are saying we have the same laugh.
It's been a lifetime.
For all the people accusing my family of going on a European vacation when my grandmother's cancer had come back, that's not
all
the case.
People, one of you.
That's not, but I'm just saying that's not the case, and there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that, you know, is unknown, so just don't jump to conclusions. This has really been a process for all of us.
Yeah. Silly accusations. That's okay. We know it comes out of a place because you loved her. So if it is a misguided anger, that's okay. It as long as it comes from a place of love.
No one has been more supportive than our family to her in this time.
I mean, no one else knew.
Before. Yeah,
no one else knew. So she did it the way she wanted. I mean, believe me, like when somebody leaked the details of her death certificate, and her PR team reached out to me, and they were like, oh my God, I can't believe no one knew this whole time, including them. No one knew. Her closest friends did not know. So that's the way she wanted it, and we protected that for her because she wanted every day that she was here to be a day in the present and not having people lean into her with the "I'm so sorry." She didn't want that. She didn't want that.
Pity.
She wanted optimism. Yeah. She was like, when people look at me with that face, I can't. And she's like, and it's so much work for me to hold them up. Mm-hmm. She didn't do it with us. She didn't talk about being sick or dying with us. She wanted light and she wanted optimism. And, if I'm being honest, sometimes that was hard because we wanted to talk about it. Mm-hmm. We wanted to process that with her, but she didn't want that. She didn't want that. She wanted us to stay optimistic, and she wanted us to believe that she was going to beat this. And she really kept thinking up until the very end that she was going to beat this. So please don't judge. Don't judge. We gave her what she wanted. And, you know, a lot of you, why won't you give us an update? We want an update. I'm like, I can't give you an update. You know, and also the update sucked. So I wasn't going to give you an update. Like, oh, the update. Oh, yeah, well, she's having a hard time walking now. Oh, the update sucked. So there was no doing that. So, you know, as magnanimous as I sounded at the beginning of the speech to say, like, you know, it's okay. Also, you know, they were her wishes, Paula. We did what she asked us to do.
It's also impossible to know where someone is during what time, and I mean, 1 week in Paris wasn't really going to change anything at that time.
God,
so
no.
it's not even congruent.
No. And also, like, listen, she really, like, Allan and Suzanne had a lot of private time during this, and we went down there as much as we were, you know, as much as we were able to. But, you know, and Suzanne, it's like, you don't feel like visitors when you don't feel when you don't feel well. And
she
like,
was
we
also,
wanted to just be there just to hold her hand and be there. But
she was such a host. Like, she, you know, she was used to hosting. So I think that us sort of taking care of her felt a little bit weird to her at times.
She did not want us taking care
Yeah,
of her. She
like
only wanted
she
Allan
was
taking
used to
care of
being
her.
the matriarch too, you know?
She was the host.
That's what I just said,
Yeah, like, I'm not angry. I'm curious. Big difference. Yeah, Jackie, you don't know when I went to Europe or not, when my dad was sick.
She actually
Come
did
on.
go to Europe when her dad had cancer.
you know, at my dad's, you know, encouraging.
Yeah, exactly. And she was also there cooking for him every weekend. So, like, both can
Exactly.
exist. I
And
mean,
we
we're not
have-
supposed to not live our lives. If death can teach you anything, it's also to live a full, happy, beautiful life, not at the expense of taking care of those who are sick.
Yeah, never
but-
ever did we abandon
No.
or. Anyway, this is silly. We're not talking to you people anymore. That's just dumb. I mean, 99.9% of you understand how much we cared for every member of our family and will do. So we don't have to.
What did grandkids think when watching Three's Company? We used to watch it actually when we went to Palm Springs. So every time we went to Palm Springs, this was a while ago. So they had those. This was in early 2000s, and in one of the rooms they had this small little TV, and you know it was like cable, like you just flip through a few channels. Yeah, cable. Me, Gen Z. So you know we flipped through the channels, and like it was one of the only things that was on. So that's when we would watch Three's Company, or we'd watch it when we'd visit them in Malibu, and then we'd always run upstairs in Palm Springs. We'd wake up early and we'd run upstairs and go visit Zanny and Zeta in their room, and they'd make us a smoothie, and we'd crawl into bed with them, and we'd watch TV. And that's when we'd see episodes of Three's Company, and then when my grandma was getting ready for the day. And I remember the episode where she and John Ritter were handcuffed.
That was her favorite.
That was
was
the one
Annie's
that
favorite.
stuck out to me the most because it was so funny. And I remember, but she was sitting there. It was one line where he was ordering and he was saying, "I'll get the tomato soup," and then she was at the other table and she said, "And I'll have a turkey sandwich." It was so funny. I remember that.
Zanny came about as her name because it was actually when the first grandchild was coming, it was Stephen's son, and she wanted to be respectful of Stephen's mother. And so she didn't want to be called Grammy because she was like...
Her grandma.
Yeah, she didn't want to be called anything like grandma-ish, so because she wanted to be respectful of the biological grandmother. And so she said, so, you know, Allan's going to go by Zeta, so I'm thinking, you know, maybe, you know, Suzanne, Zanny, you know, kids always like to add a Y to them, so that's how Zanny came to be. And then Bruce was the one who said, "Mom, whatever name you pick, it's going to be one name for all the grandkids. There's no difference between Stephen and Leslie's kids and our kids. We want you to have one name. It's going to, we're one family. So that's how Zanny came to be, and it just couldn't be a more perfect name.
And we never even knew we were step cousins.
Of course not.
Growing up, we didn't know that technically we weren't blood related.
It's true.
Those are some of the best memories I have, really, is going to Palm Springs around this time of year.
Yeah.
In November, waking up early, going up to Zanny's room, and then she had this long hallway, and it had these beautiful fluffy rugs, and her cat, Chrissy, when Chrissy was alive, Chrissy would go and lay in the rug, and Zanny told me she goes and lays in the rug and it reminds her of her mother. And I remember saying to Zanny, "Aren't you her mother?" And she said, "No, she has a cat mother." So that's when I learned that cats have babies, I guess. And in that hallway, she had pictures of all the grandchildren and all of her children and the grandchildren, and there was this beautiful jewelry draped across the pictures, and beautiful books and pictures of her Vegas performances. And then we'd go sit at the foot of her vanity and watch her put on makeup. She loved this Shui Uemura concealer stick that I think they discontinued.
Yeah, that's
so
why she had to make her own.
She bought like
that's why she had to make
exactly.
Yeah, and then she made her own. That's where the concealer pot came from, because she used to be obsessed with this. Like, because
this was way before.
90s,
this was like early 2000s, before she really did makeup.
Yeah, and that was.
And then we'd go into her closet, which was the best part, because then we'd look at all of her. She had her jewelry all like laid out beautifully, and it was all color coded. So she would have like the yellow picture frame with, a picture of my mom and dad in it or something, and then all the yellow jewelry would be, or all the gold jewelry would be right by that
All
picture
from
frame.
all that jewelry from HSN, and then she had the pink drawer.
Yeah, we didn't know it was Susie.
And then
we would always say
the
really,
amethyst ones that Violet was like, well, this is my drawer, and then she'd tell Camelia that hers was the pink, and then Daisy was all the yellow.
We each had a drawer, and we didn't know they were Susie, and we would always say really like insensitive things to her, like, "Zanny, when you die, can I have this one?"
Oh my God.
But we didn't know, we were just little kids, And my mom was saying to us, "Stop saying that. Stop saying when you die."
Yeah.
And so then we changed the narrative. We were like, "Zanny, when you don't want this anymore, can I have it?" But because she had so much beautiful, it was just like, it was a candy shop for us.
She still has all of that jewelry.
All of it. And
any of you who bought that jewelry from HSN, it was so well made. All those pieces, and she loved it. She wore it.
She really did, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And she wore it so well with all of her great clothes. And then also she had every single color Manolo Blahnik, the same pointy
and like
pointy toe.
12 pair of nude.
Yeah.
Of nudes. Yeah.
And she actually used to tell us that she invented nude shoes on television.
She did. She did believe that.
She said, listen to me. Because, and then she'd explain it every time, and she would say, because when you sit there on television, I thought, you have your nude shoe, and it just elongates the leg. So there you have it. I was the first one. To wear nude shoes on television. I tell you, I'm serious.
Another claim to fame. Write about it in the tribute.
Yeah, exactly.
It does elongate the leg.
Every
in
time
fact, when you guys were doing with that interview with Kit Hoover, who's such a doll, and I think you mentioned the nude shoot, and Kit was like, "Oh, I mean, listen, I'm a petite woman. I do it all the time."
Yeah. Well, because
you reminded her it was Zanny.
Every time we see someone wearing nude shoes on television, we go.
And she is right. It does elongate the leg.
Of course it does.
Yeah. The ankle strap, a black ankle strap.
She hated ankle straps. She would tell us all the time.
Cuts the leg.
Like, great shoe, but not the ankle strap. Mm-hmm. She hated ankle straps. What else did she hate? Well, she loved dressing monochromatic.
Monochromatic, head to toe.
I remember going.
She'd do the purple jewelry, the purple bag, the purple shoes.
No, but
head to toe.
Everything. Like, I remember we went to this lunch with my friend and my friend's grandmother and my grandma, Suzanne, they were friends. So we did like a 3 generations lunch, and we went to the Polo Lounge, and she came dressed in purple tights, purple Manolo Blahniks. She had purple gloves, a purple dress, a purple suede belt, a purple hood, because she loved hoods.
I remember this outfit.
She loved hoods.
So good.
She loved it. And I was like, Zanny, you're wearing so much purple. I love dressing monochromatically.
But it elongates.
It does.
She knew.
It does. She knew. And she only, in bright colors always. And she would always say,
Well, she liked black too.
The great thing, 2 colors, you can wear 2 colors. 2 different colors as long as they're the same intensity. She started that one later in life, I feel like.
And the prints. Oh, you're right, Geraldine. The prints, the zebra print, the cheetah
animal
prints,
animal prints,
hoods.
She loved hoods. She would walk around the house in hoods.
I know.
All the time. She'd go,
I love this.
I love hoods.
Like you're in the middle of these flows, and then
someone gets mad at you for being happy. And you're like, okay.
Okay. We're doing the best we can. We're just
and
gonna move through
Coral
this.
Crush too. Coral Crush
Oh yeah, the
lipstick, and then she
loved coral jewelry.
She had
Turquoise or coral. Those were.
She would use the tanning. I didn't know my grandmother was naturally pale until literally
So pale.
her, like, after she passed, because she always wore tanning serum and self-tanner. So you can see those early days, like on Johnny Carson, she has really fair, pale skin, because that's before she started doing tanner. But then later on, she always had this glowy, like, California skin, but she's an Irish girl at heart. But anyway, she put on tanning serum. But like one of my favorite things about my grandma is that she was she kept everything tidy. She always had a great space, and she was very, clean and tidy, but she had like this sort of feminine messiness, and she was a little messy, and so like she would do things in a very careless manner. So every time she put on her tanning serum, it wasn't like fully rubbed in. So it had these little splotches, especially all over her hands. And then even at the very end, like when she fully had cancer and like couldn't move or function, there was still tanning serum on her hands.
Sweet. Like if we were going to see her, she'd just throw a little on.
Yeah.
And then we'd rub it in when we saw her.
Yeah.
We'd even it out for her.
And she wore makeup every single day. She always wore makeup.
Yeah.
She said, you have to wear makeup every day. And I think Moren taught her that, right? Moren was the one who would always say, you have to wear makeup every day. Moren's her sister.
Yeah, well, toward the end, I saw her without makeup many times. She was so beautiful
but
without makeup.
That was like when we kind of knew, honestly.
Yeah, but she
wasn't wearing makeup.
No, the last few months when we were out in Palm Springs, she wasn't wearing makeup.
But that's what I mean.
Like,
That's
like
for me.
so
That was a sign
like
that
her skin looked incredible.
Her skin does. No, she looked really beautiful.
I mean, her skin was.
I just mean for me, I knew because she always wore makeup.
Yeah,
I knew that something was different at that point.
Yeah.
And those are also some of my best memories too. Is just walking into the kitchen, how it smelled.
Yeah.
Walking into that kitchen, and it was a beautiful house, like kind of villa style, but the kitchen was fairly small in comparison to the scope of the whole house. And they had this giant table that took up literally the whole kitchen, so you had to squeeze around corners to get by. And then like whoever got the corner seat in the very back was sort of the unlucky one.
No, this one. Christy saying, loved her cooking, holding the raw chicken and touching everything. Caroline would remind her to wash her hands every time. Every time she'd grab the olive oil, rub the chicken, grab the olive oil, grab the salt. I'm like, oh.
Now I see where I get it, honestly. She's so... but
do
anyway,
you have all of her recipes? Luckily, Suzanne and I did 12 books together in those summer-sized years, and Suzanne would say, can you write out, you know how I do my chicken piccata, I sear it like this, and then I cook it down, and then I add the shallot, and then I add a little wine, and then I deglaze it with a little chicken broth, and then I put the butter in. Can you write that one for me? So my job during those years was to take all of those incredible recipes of Suzanne's and actually figure out the amounts and the timing so that we could have those recipes. So if you have any of Suzanne's cookbooks and the compilation book, which was the last one we did, Sexy Forever Recipe Bible, that has the majority of Suzanne's amazing, amazing recipes in it. And we collaborated on so much of that. So yes, most of those recipes are written down. And then, you know, when I did my own cookbook, of course we didn't have to live by the summer size guidelines anymore. So I kind of leaned into the things that we were never allowed to do in there. Like things with carbs and
Pasta.
Cheese and yeah, exactly. So between her books and my books, there's so much. So anyway, we will be back on Wednesday. Bruce and Allan and myself will be doing a show from Big Al's Bar, and we're gonna make some baked apples and hang out and tell more stories. And you guys can check Somers.com. Thank you for being with us.
Hello guys, I welcome you to my channel, Nice Nivon, and I'm here to give you a little background about Suzanne Somers' daughter-in-law, Caroline. Caroline has been married to Suzanne Somers' son, Bruce Jr. since 1991, and she released a cookbook on October 4th titled, Served from My Family Table to Yours. Over the years, Caroline and Somers had co-created about 600 recipes together for the summer-sized cookbook series. Bruce and Caroline welcomed their daughter Camelia in 1995 and their second daughter named Violet in 1998. Camelia Somers made her debut on the CBS daytime drama The Bold and the Beautiful in 2015. Caroline worked in the health and wellness field for over 30 years. She's the president of Suzanne Somers Health and Wellness Company. She has helped create and market Suzanne's products, recipes, education, and services to encourage people to live a healthy and organic lifestyle.